Yo, what's up, guys? Gemling Legionnaire is the most uncreative Ascendancy in the game. I don't think the name or the character art fits with any of these nodes on the tree. I think they gotta scrap the entire thing. In the first league, in 0.1, this was the stat stacking character. You could do some really interesting things with stat stacking, which basically all amounted to big damage, big life pool, you know, or super fast attack speeds. That's all come to an end. Rightly so, it needed to be changed or nerfed so that everyone didn't resort to that type of build. It abused certain mechanics. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. The main problem with this Ascendancy is this entire Ascendancy is numbers go up, other numbers go down. That's it. That's all it does. It doesn't give you any new skills. It doesn't augment any skills. It doesn't give you a new way to play the game. It doesn't fulfill the fantasy or the theme of a Gemling Legionnaire. Okay? So, look. 20% less attributes, double attribute inherit bonuses. 3% increased attributes. You can satisfy things with attributes. Here's some attributes. Reduced attribute requirements. You can use a second support gem. Reduced attribute requirements on equipment. Here's some levels, and here's some quality for gems. More attribute requirements. That sucks. The game needs less attribute requirements overall. Okay, and then 30% less cost of skill. Okay, so number goes up, other number goes down. That's the entire Ascendancy, right? So look at the character art. He has skill gems coming out of his arms and his eyeball. There's an orange one over here. There's some green ones here and a blue one here. All right. So what should this do? Well, the idea in Path of Exile, from what I understand, is that you're actually putting the skill gems into equipment, and that's how you're gaining power from them. But this Ascendancy is supposed to be literally fusing them into his body. Okay. So then, what should his Ascendancy tree look like then? It should reflect that. There should be alterations and augmentations to skill gems for putting them in your body as opposed to putting them in the weapons and stuff. The theme should be more along the lines of how, like, the Infernalist or like the Lich kind of feel, where it's almost like you've changed the nature of your character. Like, you know how the Infernalist has like the burning mana pool or the demon form, and the Lich has like the undead theme where it's like you can like lock your life and all that stuff. This guy kind of needs something like that too, where it's almost like he is now transformed from putting these gems into his body. And so what does that do? Well, it should unlock new powers for the skill gems in interesting and new ways. It would be cool, for example, if he could mix some of these skills and they could be used with other pieces of gear, you know, because if it's in his body, it's not tied to the gear. So like, what if he could use all the shield skills with focuses? What if he could cast Falling Thunder without a quarterstaff? What if he could do the ice shot without a bow? He could just do it with anything, or with unarmed. The other idea would be that it corrupts the skill in a certain way or augments it in a certain way to behave differently. Now, like, I don't really know exactly what that means. That would be a lot of work for a lot of skill gems to just augment them all. But maybe they could just add like certain nodes that basically act as supports on all gems. So like you could have things like all gems are granted, you know, martial tempo, or all gems are granted, you know, execute, which would be really good. But I'm just saying, like, you could put a support gem even in the tree here, you know, and then that support gem is applied to every skill you have, if it works, you know, in your skill list. Or like, what if you could put a skill gem in the Ascendancy portrait here, and then that skill gem becomes like one of the, you know, Ascendancy only skills and doesn't take up a slot, and then is granted like an effect from the Ascendancy to that skill that is only in that Ascendancy. All right, so I know that's kind of vague, and I know it's not like, I mean, I'm not the game designer, right? Like, I'm not making these things. I don't know how hard some of that would be. But I just think that this class, this Ascendancy, is so uncreative and boring. Number goes up, other number goes down. That's all it is. It's like, it doesn't give you anything to fantasize about, really. You know, it doesn't give you like the lore infused in what the Ascendancy can do. So anyway, that's what I think about that Ascendancy. I think it's the worst one in the game at this point for creativity.